bringing back memories.
Of what? Of what?
You know.
No, I don't know. Memories of what?
Just making videos.
Oh. You perv. Yeah! I shouldn't even said that out loud. Okay. We're just gonna wait a few minutes to see if anyone comes on.
This is time consuming. I got a notification. Oh.
Oh.
Live.
I know, because then these people get the notifications and come up.
How do we know who's watching us?
We don't until we sign off, but it says right there. Just don't look at it. When you do live videos and you see that people are watching you, sometimes you get nervous, so you have to look away. Not really. You can't look away, but just breathe through it.
I'm breathing.
Okay.
Well, shouldn't we be able to interact with the people that are watching?
They can comment, and then we can answer them when we talk.
I see.
So oftentimes, when I do videos or something, kind of comes across as cocky, and
no, not cocky. I just seem like I'm in a bad mood. Pretty much. I guess I do that a lot. I seem very serious and angry.
Because then he watches himself and he's like, "Oh my god, I look like a dick." Well then. Okay. So basically, what we wanted to talk about tonight was food addiction.
Nobody's watching us anymore.
Okay.
I don't feel loved.
You don't feel love.
This is like cyberbullying.
What?
Yeah.
No, it's not. Maybe if we make out, they'll watch.
No, stop.
Perverts.
Don't say that.
You perverts. I'm just kidding. Okay. Because then this goes on, so what happens with live videos is this goes on our wall, on my wall, and then people can watch it from the beginning.
Alright.
Okay, so we're gonna start. So basically, food addiction is something I want to say, going back to my story, with eating disorders and having anorexia for a really long time, my life revolved around food. So, see, there's Shan's watching. All right, awesome. It just doesn't say we have viewers for some reason. I don't know. That's okay. We'll just keep going. So my story, my background was, with food and stuff like that, is that I had an eating disorder for a very, very long time. I got pregnant when I was 15 years old. When I was 16, I had my daughter. And, I gained 70 pounds when I was pregnant with her and I was in high school. And there were all these little tiny, teeny girls in high school, obviously, because that's not the norm to get pregnant when you're a teenager. But anyway, I wanted to lose the weight and I was under a lot of stress from being a new mom and trying to finish high school and that kind of thing. So the one thing that I could control in my life was food. So I tried to cut my calories severely and pretty much not eat much of anything, which caused a lot of anxiety. But moving forward, after I had Sydney, my second daughter, I would get dizzy and I was super, super thin, but not in a healthy way. I wasn't fit. And I just never felt good. I was always really tired. And what happened is, if I would go to parties or family functions or dinners or something like that, I would binge, and I would binge really, really bad on food. And so every time a social event came up, I wouldn't, I just wouldn't eat. I might have ate one time a day. And then say this is Monday and then Saturday there's an event or something going on. So I would, would just be in my head, the picturing of all the food there. And I didn't, it's really sad, but I didn't really care about the function itself. I just went for the food because I knew there'd be food there and I'd be able to stuff my face with food so that I was no longer hungry, per se.
You should add that was probably unhealthy food.
Yeah, it was really unhealthy food. It was cake and brownies and pastas and just, stuff I don't eat now. So that kind of goes back to my background and having food addiction. And I feel a lot of times food addiction is something that people think is for people that overeat their food, but that's not really true. It could just be I had the problem where I didn't eat hardly ever at all, and then all of a sudden there was food and I was like, oh my god, there's food. And I always had that sense of, okay, we're going to this function, this social function, there's going to be food, I get to eat food, and then that's all you think about. So what I did to kind of overcome that is I dug deep into like things that, like I said, it's obviously like a control thing. I got a book called Mindful Eating, and I read that, and it kind of really helped me to go back and think about why we eat food as humans. Like obviously we're eating to nourish our bodies and to not be sick and those types of things. So it was a process, like over a year. Like I had to drill this in my head. I sought help from counselors to know like it's okay to eat. Like you have to eat to thrive. And I didn't want to be sick anymore, and I didn't want to feel like crap anymore. So that's like a little bit of my story, and Mike has a little bit different of a story. So I'm hoping he can share with you guys right now his point of view, because I feel like a lot of times men aren't as straightforward, or they don't come out as much with like their struggles.
I'm coming out.
So he's coming out. So I mean, I don't know. I think this is really awesome that he's putting himself out there right there for me, for all of us. All right.
My name's Mike, and I'm addicted to food. So I have somewhat of a similar story, except more so me not really like not eating stuff. I used to be like super anal about what I ate. I was into bodybuilding, working out, living what they call a healthy lifestyle.
You have to talk loud.
And I watched what I ate very, very closely, and I like restricted all the junk food, and I didn't try not to eat that the best I could, and I really, really cleaned. And at the same time, I have a very addictive personality. Anything I like, I want more of it. So once I eliminated all the things that I liked, it made me think about them constantly. I would obsess about it. I would usually have 1 day a week where I could eat everything I want, and I still do that somewhat. But the whole week I would think about that day where I could eat everything I want. I would plan it out, plan all the places I'm going to go and get all the junk food, and same thing with the events that I'd go to. I didn't care about the event, just like Stephanie said. The only thing I would think about is all the good food there. And when I say good food, it's just not like eating good food, it's eating like terrible treats and desserts and things like that. And I would eat so much that I would feel sick and nauseous. And a lot of people don't think guys go through this, but I seriously know so many guys who struggle with this same thing too. And it's a lot of people that are into working out and a healthy lifestyle, and maybe that somewhat even creates it, where you have an unhealthy relationship with food. But I know that definitely didn't help it with me, but I know looking back my whole life that I've always had those addictive personalities, and if I have something I like, I just want more of it. So it's been a struggle, and it still is a struggle, but it gets easier and easier as you try and learn your body more. But I know not a lot of guys like to talk about it. I don't really care. Anything I like, I get addicted to. So whatever it is, whether it's playing with remote-controlled toys, food, my drone, taking pictures, anything I like, I get addicted to it. So her. And I just want more and more, and it's hard to let that go once you get a little bit of it. So now I'm at the point where, and I've learned from eating stuff, if I don't want to eat something bad, I can't have any of it. I can't just take one bite. I can't. I know as soon as I take one bite, I'm going to want more and more and more, and it just turns into me binging out and eating so much stuff. And then some people who don't have this issue, they may eat a donut, whereas I take a bite of a donut and then I eat 6 of them. That's just not healthy. And yeah, so that's hard. I know that some people don't have this issue at all, and for me to see how people do that is extremely difficult, because I've done a lot of reading and learning about how the mind works, and it's the same way with drugs. When you eat a food you like, it triggers the same things in your mind that doing drugs do. It works with the dopamine system. So when I eat something, it's just like doing a drug, and it has the same effects in the brain. So a lot of people that don't have that, it's really more of the brain chemistry and how their body and their characteristics of their mind work. I mean, if they like one thing, they like another thing. But if they still have that personality where they become addicted to stuff, you can really get addicted to anything. Yeah. I'm just rambling now. I don't know what else we're supposed to talk about.
I think you brought up a really good point. Like when you eat the foods and then you feel like crap afterwards. Like it's like this cycle where you know you're gonna feel really bad, but you do it anyways. And then you carry that guilt for days, right? And then it kind of just becomes a cycle, and you're like, oh, the hell with it. Like, today I ate really bad and really crappy, so I'm just going to continue on tomorrow with the next day, and I'll start over the next day. And then it just kind of like keeps going and going and going. And it's like, you know, when does it end? Like, when do you just stop treating yourself like crap? You know, when do you value yourself and really like start to develop that mindset on how to overcome this? Because it's not something, you know, that like food is food. It's not something that like a cigarette. They can't just ban food because it's what we eat. You know what I mean? Like, we have that autonomy that we have the right to choose what we put in our bodies. And so I know, like, for me, with going through everything, like, I would journal, and I do have stuff, like, when I was going through the recovery of anorexia, like, I journaled foods, and the emotions that I felt at that time they were just insane. Like, I would, like Mike said, like, I would constantly obsess. Like, I would want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I can't have it. I shouldn't have it. Oh my God, but I really want it, but I don't want it, and I can't have it, but I really should have it. And then I would eat it, and not only would I eat one, but I would eat like 3. And then 3 would turn into me feeling like crap and bloated, and my stomach would hurt, and then the feelings of guilt, and it was like this vicious cycle. So I think, like, what worked for you to feel better? Like, I mentioned that book I read called Mindful Eating, which really got into like why we eat. So that kind of really opened my eyes as to why we eat. Like, why I'm eating for my health. And, you know, like Mike said, sometimes I still struggle, but because I have that mindset and that knowledge now, it's really nice to have those tools. So, do I have ice cream a couple times a week? Yeah, absolutely. But I don't go in thinking, and even with social functions, I don't go in thinking, oh my God, there's food. Like, I go in thinking, okay, we're going to have a good time and talk to people. And
Kind of think about the food.
Well, and what I do is I bring healthy foods that I know that I'm going to eat. I bring my own stuff. I know I posted on my wall for last weekend with our cookouts. Like, I brought black bean brownies and things because I know if I don't have that there, then I'm going to binge on things. More so than if I didn't. What is food subtraction? I'm not familiar with that.
Maybe you're just taking out
like
something.
Taking out?
I don't know.
So what have you done to help with you overcome it?
Don't take that first bite. No, well, I seriously,
avoid it.
I know for myself, and you have to learn yourself. I have a hard time stopping myself. I remember when I was dieting for a bodybuilding show, I was dieting really, really hard, and I would say, all right, I just want a little bit of peanut butter. Mm-hmm. And maybe I worked into my macros, if it fits my macros thing, I could have 2 tablespoons of peanut butter before I went to bed. And then I would eat that tablespoon of peanut butter, and I would eat another tablespoon of peanut butter, and then the whole jar would be gone, and I wouldn't even know where it went. It just would happen so quickly, and I couldn't stop myself. I would say just one more scoop, or I would have like 1 cup of Cheerios that I would allow myself to eat, and then that 1 cup of Cheerios I would eat, and then another cup, and then sooner or later, the whole entire box of Cheerios is gone, and it would just happen so quickly that I won't even know what to do. So for me, I know that I have to actually just stop myself and say, is this something I want to eat tonight? Mm-hmm. Is this healthy? I'm just not even going to have any of it. Because I know, I mean, it might not be the best thing to do, but I really suck at portion control and stopping myself once I have something I like. So for me, I had to learn myself to just say no and just don't even take the first bite.
Yeah.
But that's what I've done. But then at the same time, I have gotten a lot better at having something, whereas before, when I was dieting really hard for a bodybuilding show, my mind was just messed up. Like, I would say it was all about the insulin, anything that would spike my insulin. So as soon as I ate something that had sugars or carbs in it that would spike my insulin, my mind would just tell myself that, all right, I had some sugar, now my insulin spiked. Now that means my insulin spiked for the whole entire day. Now that means I might as well just eat whatever I want to eat for the rest of the day. And I would go on and eat 4,000 or 5,000 calories of complete junk because that one bite of cake or whatever spiked my insulin, so it didn't even matter what I ate the rest of the day. And it's just not the best way to think about it. And it's hard to get out of that once you're in that. But you just have to realize that once you eat something bad, it's not the end of the world. And don't eat something or have a smaller next meal or switch out something at your next meal.
Yeah, and I think that's huge. Like, I think that's why meal planning comes into play and not letting yourself go hungry. And I feel like because, like, I was competing for a show as well for figure, and neither of us went through with it because personally, like, my body, I just restricted my calories so much that my body just, I think it was like 8 or 6 weeks out, it just completely gave out, and I became really, really sick, and I had no muscle strength left whatsoever. But just having that mindset of planning out your meals so that you're not so hungry that you do binge or you do overeat on food, and develop like more of a healthy relationship with food. Like I said, again, I'm going back to like why do we eat, you know? And if there's like emotional things that trigger that, start journaling it. I mean, there's self-help books too. Louise Hay has a really, really good book that I used in a workbook going through my recovery and digging down even to childhood, you know, because I feel like, I don't know, when I was younger, I never realized like the happy things that happen because, you know, we tend to focus on the negative things in our lives. And when I started journaling about things and using this workbook, it was like, oh my gosh, like there was really good things going on. And so I let certain things go that helped me, and let go of things that I could not control anymore. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's definitely like a control thing.
Well, for me, it's a lack of control. I don't have control over it.
Yeah, I can see that.